Hello and thank you for coming to my channel. This is Rick's Garage and today I'm going to be working on stage 4 of the Knight Rider build from Fanhome. Now in this stage we're going to be working on the dashboard. This is where we start to actually construct the dashboard, which means we're going to also install Mike Lane's Ultimate Electric Kit and also his dashboard monitors. So let's get started. Okay, so before we get started I want to first go to Mike Lane's page or website, and we're on the Knight Rider page. I'm going to scroll right here to the Ultimate Kit, and then we want to scroll down to where it says preparing your model step by step, and then we also have the instructions. I'm going to select preparing your model, and then we're going to scroll down here. It gives you all the information that you need for your power requirements and so on. And then right down here, this is for new builds. This is where we want to be. So this is actually listing all the parts that we're not going to need. So in stage 2, we don't need the scanner, which is this right here, the scanner lens. And in stage 4, which is where we're at, we don't need all of these parts right here. So before I get started, I want to go into our parts list or parts container and remove everything that I don't need. Okay, so these are all the parts that are in stage 4. And the first thing that is listed that we don't need is the right instrument housing, and that's 4E. So check in this 4E, that's this right here. And that is this part right here. So we don't need that. Put that aside. Okay, the next one we don't need is the left instrument housing, and that is 4F, which is this right here. And that is this part right here, I'm guessing. Okay, so we don't need that. Then we don't need the kit voice box, which is G, 4G, which is this right here, which is what I'm guessing is this piece right here. And yeah, this is the voice box, so I just made double sure I got the right one. Okay, now next we don't need is the startup panel bracket, and that is 4H, and that is this right over here, if I can find it, 4H, this right here. So we don't need that, which I'm guessing is this one right here, so we don't need this. Put that aside, and I'm just going to go through the entire list. Okay, so when we're all done, we should have 12 parts that we don't need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we're only left with what we have here in this container. Okay, now from this page, we can actually close this out, and it will take us back to this page here, and we want to select installation instructions. And then this pops up, and we want to go to preparation. And this gives you some more information on preparation, give you a little bit more information on your the circuit board, and then we come down here to where Mike outlines all the cables and what they're used for. And these are all in your kit. And eventually we're going to actually be installing all this. Come all the way down here to preparation of the electronic dashboard, and this is where some of the fun begins. We're going to take the boards that are in our kit and we're going to start attaching the electrics. Okay, so we take our electronics kit box and we open that up. And this is what we have inside. Put this aside for a moment because we don't need any of that right now. And these are the this is an electronic board, and we have a couple other boards in here and a couple of cables. Okay, so we open our pack very carefully, and I'm just going to open up just one here to take out the circuit board, or one of the boards that we need. I'm going to keep the other boards inside this static-free pack to protect them and get this out. And that's how that looks, how the board looks like right there. So I'm going to very carefully put this aside over here, being careful not to really touch any of the circuits. I'm just going to touch the sides. So bring back our box, and inside here we have our cabling. this out and take this one out. Okay, so we have these cables here. This one here says 2 alpha. Put that over here. This one here says 2 alpha. And this one here says 2 dash. Put that one over here. We have another one here that says 2 dash on it. And then this one over here, this is for the scanner. Put that over here. And then we have this cable here, and we have this cable. So this one here that says 2 alpha and 2 dash, that's the first cable that we need. I'm going to put these up aside over here for a moment. And then from our bag, we also have another LED cable right here. I'm going to get that out. Okay, now this has some LEDs to it, and we also already have it pre-attached for us. And it does say 2 dash on it, so that's something we are going to need. I'm going to very carefully put that aside. We'll use that a little bit later. Okay, we're going to take this cable here that says 2 alpha and 2 dash. So we're going to use the dash side here first. I'm going to straighten this cable out just a little bit. And this is going to go into the slot that says main. See if you can't really see that right there. It says main right there on the left, right here. And then on your cable here, where it says 2 dash, you'll notice, or hopefully you can notice, there is a gray wire that's coming out on the side. See if I can't show you that. See, there's a gray wire right there. Can you see that on the left? Well, we want to make sure that that wire is on the left when we put that into the main port right here. Okay, now when you get that cable in, again, you want to make sure that that gray cable is on the left. I don't know if you really can see that or not, but that is a gray cable coming out there on the left. You want to make sure then that you push that top of that cable down into the slot that it needs to go. And it needs to go in there flush. So take your time with this. It's a tight fit, so just take your time in getting that all the way in. And that's one of the things that you really need to pay attention to, is taking this nice and slow. This is not a race, and these circuit boards are fragile. You got to be careful with them. The cables are fragile, so you want to make sure, but the whole entire mod is a little bit on the fragile side. Mike actually gives a lot of warnings and a lot of cautionary advice to make sure that you handle this with care. So that's that first circuit going into the board right there, that first cable. Okay, next we take this LED panel looking like this, and again it says 2 dash. You want to make sure that your gray cable is on the left, and that is going to go into the slot that says top right here. So it's going to be on the top left. This one right here where it says top. And we're going to put that into that slot. Okay, and there's that one in. And hopefully you can see that there is a gray cable or wire there on the left. And that's that securely now in place. In the top, in the port marked top. Okay, now we have this cable here, which says 2 dash, and we have this one here, which says to scanner. Now these two cables are going to hook up together at some point into like this, but right now we just have this wire or this cable. Okay, so this is really cable number 1 in the instructions. This one here is cable number 2, and then this one here is cable number 3. So this cable here, looking like this, with this special connection here, it says 2 dash right there. And this is the scanner cable, and that is going to go into the slot right here that says scanner. Again, you want to make sure that when you put this in, that your gray wire is on the left side. Okay, so that's in like that. Okay, now I kind of understand why Mike was talking about this connection here, that if you disconnect this scanner wire, which is right here, the scanner, from the cable that's connected to the scanner port, that you leave this attached to the board. So you don't take the whole thing off. If you only need to disconnect, you disconnect it from here. You don't disconnect it from here. Okay, now next we have a ribbon cable that we need to get out. This is right here. Try to get that out without damaging it. Being very, very careful with it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this a little. You can see a little bit more clearly. We have this ribbon cable, and this ribbon cable is going to go into the slot here that says lower. And there is a kind of a lid on this that you need to pull up. Don't pull it all the way out. It should just very easily, somewhat easily, lift up. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. Okay, it may take a little bit of wiggling around, but that's how it should look when it's open. And then we're going to take put this back into focus. We're going to take our ribbon here and be very, very gentle with this. We're going to turn it around this way so that the black is facing us. And then we're going to slip that down into that port and then close the lid. Okay, I think mine is in, looking like that. And there it is on the other side, looking like that. So looking at this, it looks like it's all the way in. Okay, so that's all of our cables in. I don't know what goes into this little port right here that says auxiliary, but that is all of our cables in, and I still believe that that cable back here is in there correctly. If you look here back here, it looks as if it is all the way seated in there correctly. So it's the pins are actually pressed against that silver area that's on the tape right here on the ribbon. So I think that's in there right. So now I can go ahead and put this aside. Okay, now we're really getting into the real fun stuff. We need to go into our bag of tricks right here and take this panel out. And then we need to remove it from its wrapping. And then being very careful as we take it out of its package. Like that. And you can tell that it has very fine details on it, looking like that. And we're going to put that down very gently. And we'll bring over our dashboard. And as you can see, I already have the light panels in. They just kind of sit into the groove here. So you just follow the instructions on how to get that in. It just plops right into place. But that is the dashboard as it comes clean from the kit. Okay, nothing else on it like that. And one of the first things that you want to do is that you want to, while this is easy to access, we need to get the surrounds for the TV cameras or the TV screens for the monitors. We need to get those in. And that's in this box here. Open this up. And inside here is the monitor screens, right, like that. And they are highly detailed and more accurate to the real car. Okay, so that's how that looks before the surrounds are in place. You can see those white dots on the corners. And then when you put the new surround in like this, it's going to plop into place. It's going to look just like that. Okay, now that we have our surrounds in place, turn this over like this. And then we take our instrument panel, looking like that, going around like this, and very carefully inserting it in to the groove that we see right here. So this is going to go on like this. Just like that. Okay, now when this is in correctly, it should kind of fit just like that and flush to the top like this. and it kind of fits into this little groove right here. This instrument panel right here, this panel right there fits into the groove. And then we have our light right here. Those little LEDs go just like that. So that's how that should look when it's in. Just into that little groove right there. Okay, I'm going to place that down nice and gently. Okay, now next from our kit, right here, we have this arm that we need to put in. This right here, into our circuit board. Put this aside and get this out. Okay, now on this arm there is a tiny lug that's going to go into the hole that's right here on our board. So this is going to go on this way around, and it's going to go into that hole like that. So when that's in, that's how that looks. There it is on the other side there. So it just goes into that little tiny hole right there. And this is going to help adjust the circuit board up against the dashboard instrument panel. Okay, now I'm going to try to get our board in place, getting our wires all situated. And this is going to go in like this underneath this panel right here and up against the instrument panel and into the groove that you see in the bottom of the dash. Okay, now once you have this seated in place, notice how flush the circuit board is against the instrument panel surround, looking like that. Now in this hole right here, that little piece that we put into the circuit board here and right back here, we're going to attach it or secure it in with 2 BP screws. Okay, now when that's in, that's how that should look, like that. And I don't think we have to worry too much about this gap right here. I think that's going to close in once we get the other pieces in. But that is firmly in place correctly, because that cap right here on that piece that we put in that goes into the circuit board has a locating slot that goes over a post right there that's on the dashboard. So that will line that piece up correctly. And then that also lined up the hole that's back over here where we put this other BP screw in. And then when we turn this up this way, you can see that it's all nice firmly in place. It is nice and solid and everything is in there correctly. This is kind of falling out right now, but I'll get that in a little bit later. That light panel, that'll be secured in a little bit later, but because it's just kind of like hanging in there right now. But that is how that is looking so far. So you should have a nice flush fitting all around through here. That it all should be flush, and this should be flush in there as well, like it's locked into place, just like that. Okay, now next what we need to do is we need to look at our Fanhome instructions, and on step 6 we put this piece in, looking like that. This is going to go on like this. These 3 holes right here are going to match up to these 3 holes right there, and then this hole right here is going to match up to that lug hole right there. So this is going to go on like that. Okay, so once you have this part installed, that's how your piece should be looking. Again, this is the light panel. This is going to get secured in a few moments. But that's how that should be looking, just like that. Now, you might have a little bit of a gap right here, you can see, but that's going to close down later on when we put the last screw in here of a part that we need to put in a little bit later according to the instructions. So that's going to get screwed down tighter, and that's going to close that gap, so don't worry about that. So that's where that's at. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so next we take from our kit this bracket. Take this bracket out. Like so. And with the flat side up, we place the bracket down onto these two pegs right down in here, and that just kind of screws right into place using 2 BP screws. So I'm going to get that in. Okay, next what we need to do is we need to take from our kit, this right here, this bracket. I'm going to get that bracket out like this. And that is going to fit down into here under those 2 lug holes right there. The flat side up, it's going to match up into those 2 holes right like that. And then we're going to be very careful in taking this LED board, and we're going to then very gently get that back into place. Very gently position those 2 holes on this board and secure that board down with 2 BP screws. Okay, and that's how that looks once that is installed. And that was tricky. That was not really all that easy to get in. So take your time. Okay, next we take our dashboard monitor out of the casing here. Very careful with it. And then we have our cable here. One says to alpha. On the other end doesn't say anything, and that's going to go into the port right here on our monitor board. So like with all of our other cables, we need to make sure that the gray wire here is on the left, and we'll install that right here onto our board. Okay, next you want to take our ribbon cable. I've got our monitor in this position, and I've taken the ribbon cable, and this plastic end goes into this hole over here, and then this ribbon falls right into place like that. And then we take our panel, and with the lights to the left, which would be in this direction, when our piece is in this position like this, our panel should be in this position looking like that. Okay, now once you've got your panel in looking like that, there are these pegs right down here. You got one here, here, and here, and they're going to line up to the holes that are underneath this board here. So you've got to be very careful as you're putting this in that you line those pegs up. So it's going to go on like that, and you should feel those pegs go right into the holes. I just heard mine kind of like click in like that. Okay, so after you have everything all installed, it should all look like that. They're on the bottom like that, and then we have our dash looking like that. Okay, looking really good. Okay, so now we're at the point where we can test our electrics. We want to make sure that we haven't broken anything while we have put this all together. So what I've done here is that I have connected to the circuit board the minimum amount of what we need to test this. So I get our wires here all situated. Alright, so the first thing that I've done is I have connected our USB cable right here, or not USB, but the micro chip cable right here, and that goes right down into here right there. That is our SD card, and that is our SD card connector extender cable. That is needed. I don't know why it's needed, but it is needed. And then we have connected our alpha cable right here, which is our monitor, and our monitor cable goes right there, and it goes under the slot that says monitors, and you want to make sure that the gray cable is on the right, not the left. That's on the right. Now when we were putting these cables into our dash, we had to make sure that the gray cable was on the left. It's reversed on the circuit board. We want to make sure that the gray cable is on the right. Okay, then we have our dash cable right here, and that's just going to the dashboard itself, and that goes into a slot here called dash, and that's right there. Again, the gray cable on the right. And then we have, get this around this way, or our speaker, which is very important, and that is going into a slot right here marked S. So that's right there. So that's all of our cables. I don't have the scanner cable connected because I don't have the scanner made yet. That will come later in the build. And then I have our USB power connector right here, and that is leading into the wall, which is connected to a USB charge adapter, and I will put a link in the descriptions on where I got the adapter. And Mike has in his instructions all the recommendations that you need to make sure that you have the right type of adapter. And I'll put a link in the descriptions where I got mine. Now when you power this on, you'll notice that there is a red light on your circuit board right here. It's indicating that you've got power. And on the dash, I'll turn off the light here so you can see it a little bit easier. There is a light that is blinking or glowing on and off. You can see that right there on our dash. And that red light there, actually, I think it says power on it. Okay? All right. Then you want to take your remote and you want to put 2 AAA batteries in it. Now, the first time that you are going to power this up, the dash is going to blink for about a couple of seconds. Okay? And then it's going to walk you through the pairing process of pairing your remote to your dashboard. That's very important. Okay, and basically what the instructions are going to walk you through, which is why we need to have the speaker, is that it's just going to ask you to press all the buttons. So it's going to prompt you for button number 1, button number 2, button number 3, and all the way down to button number 12. Once you have pressed all your buttons and it has connected to your dash, okay, because it will indicate that during the sequence, you want to power this off. Now, however you've powered this on or supplied your power, whether it's you want to remove the USB cable here, or you want to turn it off from the wall switch, or you just want to remove the USB from the power adapter, is totally up to you. It just depends upon how power is being supplied. You just want to turn the whole thing off because you want to reboot your dash. Now, when your dash is rebooted, then it is going to come alive, and I will show you how you'll know that is correct. And that is correct by, you'll see again the flashing standby mode right there. And I'm going to press button number 1 on our remote, and our system should come alive.
My sensors are picking up some very...
Okay. And there is our cameras, or not our cameras, but our monitors are powering up, and our dash is active, and you can see that all the lights and indicators are working. So that is a success right there, that our dash is actually working and all the LEDs are functioning and nothing got broken during the assembly. And when I first saw this, I just screamed out, "It's working! It works!"
My sensors detect Bonnie on the 2nd floor in the south wing.
Okay, now Kit is actually talking right now, so you can probably hear that. All right, now I'm just going to go through a couple of the buttons right here. Right now we're in power on standby mode, and then we're going to go through some of the other modes here. I'm going to press button number 2. And according to the card that Mike has, it gives you a bunch of...
Scanning your vital signs. Your blood pressure is 190/120 and your pulse is 104.
The Kit's still talking. So we have all the controls right here identified on this card here. It tells you exactly what all this is. Now the picture here for the remote, obviously is not the same picture we have here.
Crazy. Not in the clinical sense, at least.
And Kit's still talking. And so we don't have all the buttons you see here. So your remote from the picture is going to be different than what the actual remote is, because there was a phase 1 and then you had a phase 2, and I think we have the latest and greatest right here, because I know that Mike had done some last minute changes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press number 2, and number 2 is cycles through some of the dash modes: idle mode, cruise control, pursuit, and activates the action sequence. So I'm going to press number 2. So that is the cruise control. And then number 3, we have that cycles through some of the speeches.
Michael is indisposed.
Okay, and we'll do another one.
Contrary to popular belief, looks aren't everything.
And then we'll do another one more.
Michael, to put it mildly, it's a long shot.
Hopefully you can hear that. Okay, then we have the other functions here. We got number 5, that circles through the scanner modes and cruise and surveillance. So we have that. You can hear that on the speaker. And then of course we have our monitors are also acting in response to that. I don't know if you can see that here on the screen. So those are monitors are doing what it's doing in terms of the surveillance mode and so forth. And then we still have some more activity going on.
Kit, what's happening? I've tried to reach Michael forever now. Michael is indisposed.
Okay, and then there's all the other functions on there as well that you can go through, but essentially what I wanted to make sure of and also show you is that the dash is working as it should. Okay, and we'll do one more right here.
Michael, I thought I'd never see you again.
And we'll do another one.
What would happen if an irresistible force met an immovable object?
Okay, so that is our dash working. Now I'm going to press number 1 again, and that will then power everything down. Okay, so this is the dashboard at the end of stage 4, complete with Mike Lane's Ultimate Electronic Kit. Now, to help you more understand this kit from Mike Lane, I highly recommend you check out the YouTube channel Mr. Fusion's Design. He has 2 excellent videos on how to assemble this kit, and I'll put a link in the descriptions below for you. One is called Mike Lane's Ultimate Electronic Kit Installation Step-by-Step Guide, and the other is Mike Lane Ultimate Electronic Kit Disassemble Step-by-Step Guide. Now these videos, especially the one titled Installation Step-by-Step, which for me was very valuable because it covers the installation as you build. Now the recording time for this video is about 5 hours. That's how long it really took me to build this or assemble this modification, and it's going to be interesting to see how much I can actually edit this down to. I hope you found this tutorial on how to install Mike Lane's Ultimate Electronic Kit and dashboard monitors, and that you'll give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you can be notified of new videos that have been posted to the channel. Other than that, always have fun in your garage, your workshop, or wherever it is that you build your models. Until next time, thanks for watching.